Hi there, I'm Blackbright, broadcasting out the UK. Welcome to my channel. First time you're passing through, you can hit the like button, you can hit the thumbs down button, you can click on the subscribe button or the bell icon, or you can share this video with others. I'm not quite sure whether or not I'm going to do a roundup. I guess it all depends how long each section takes and whether or not I decide to do individual sections, or whether I decide to put them all together. When I do my videos, it's kind of an organic process. I kind of start off with one idea and then it kind of takes its own journey, so to speak. So today, I don't know why they keep on telling me I need updates. It drives me nuts. But anyway, today I wanted to talk again about the subject of immigration as opposed to COVID-19, which makes a change. And that's because it still isn't clear in a lot of people's minds that citizenship is not a right, it's a privilege. And as a result, you can be a citizen and you can have it revoked, as in the case of Shamima Begum, or if you've claimed your citizenship through fraud, misrepresentation, omission of the facts, omission of material facts, all those kind of things that can actually nullify your citizenship. Now, supposing you decided to get married to someone and your sole basis of getting married to that individual was to get your citizenship. You don't give a damn about the woman, or you don't give a damn about the man. You just want your citizenship. Some people pay for that, which is like a contract or an agreement, which is illegal, but they do that. But at least there's not that deception between the two parties. There's a deception with the government, which is probably worse. But you also have individuals who actually try to cajole someone by making out that they really care about them, that they love them, that they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And through that kind of verbal contract, they decide to get married under the understanding of the British subject that it's going to be a genuine marriage, only to find out that after they've got married, the guy says, bye-bye. Now, what that guy doesn't realise is that that female, if she suspects that he only married her for the visa as opposed to them not being compatible and finding out that it doesn't work out, because that can happen. And it can also happen the other way. A guy or a female can marry someone with the intention of it just being to get their visa, and they actually fall in love with that person. So, but in the scenario where the guy or the girl is deliberately deceiving the person that they're marrying with a view to getting their visa, and they're really nice up to the point where they get the visa, and then once they get the visa, they just kind of say bye. Well, in that situation, that woman can go to the Home Office and get that citizenship nullified. And what it means by nullified, it was as though that person was never ever a citizen. So they do have revocation of citizenship, they have nullification of citizenship, and they have revocation. Did I say revocation? I think I said revocation, nullification, and is it rejection? They've got three of them anyway. I can't remember what the third one is. But my point is that whatever way you get your citizenship, if it's not legal and it's not moral and you haven't done it, you've either pretended you're someone else or you're using false documents, whatever it is you've done to get your citizenship, you can get your citizenship, but it can also be revoked. It can also be taken away. So that's what I'm saying, and like we know, where there is treason involved, even if you are a citizen, you can have your citizenship taken away and you can render yourself stateless. And even though that's not supposed to happen, I mean, states are not supposed to make individuals stateless, but they have done it and they will continue to do it. So I just wanted to remind people that, you know, depending on the reason why or how they're staying in the country, it had better be genuine, because you get found out in the end. It's like some people, they come over as students, and then you hear them say, oh, I want to stay in the country. And you're like, well, if you came over as a student, you came over to learn something, and then you're supposed to be going back. But some people, they come over as students, and then they think during that time, whether it's a 3-year course or a 4 years graduate course, they're going to meet someone, and then that person is going to, they'll marry that person, and they end up staying. But the writing will be on the wall if that relationship isn't genuine. And you could end up, after spending a few years with somebody, if that person finds out that your intentions aren't honourable, they can throw you back out with the dishwater. So you've got to be very careful there. Let me see what else I have here. You also have those who've been caught out lying or lying on forms. What else is there? Under the circumstances, the government acknowledges the individual as a citizen. However, they have the right to take it back. So, in America, naturalized citizens can be denaturalized. Much harder if you're a citizen. I'm not quite sure if you commit treason like they claim Shamima Begum did. But denaturalized citizens can definitely be, no, naturalized citizens can definitely be denaturalized. And we also have people who can renounce their citizenship. Like some people, they want to renounce their citizenship because by being a citizen in America, if you go and live anywhere else in the world, you're still liable to pay tax on your earnings, even though you're not living in the United States. So some people, they renounce their citizenship because they don't want that burden. But if you're over 18 and you renounce your citizenship, you can't reclaim it. So if anything goes tits up and you think, oh my God, you know, I made a mistake, I want to be American again, you can't do that. So back to the UK. Under Section 76 of the Nationality, Immigration and Asylum Act, where indefinite leave to remain has been obtained through deception, the Home Office has the right to revoke it. So, that was the third one. So it was deprivation of citizenship. Deprivation is in the case of Shamima Begum. She was deprived of her citizenship because of the situation. Nullify is when you have pretended you're someone that you're not in order to get a citizenship, and they'll just go on like you don't exist. You was never a citizen. And then, of course, you have the revocation of a citizenship if they find out later on that there was something wrong or some form of deception or misrepresentation in your application. So, what else have we got? England and America only want the best immigrants, which is why the standards have been set so high, they say. And it's interesting because I read somewhere, I think it was in The Guardian, they said they want such a high standard for immigrants, but their own people can't, a lot of their own people can't meet those standards themselves, the indigenous people. And I think that is why you find a lot of immigrants say, or can often say, I have to work twice as hard or 3 times as hard for less money, or, you know, to achieve what I want to achieve than other people. So, you know, to get the same results, you have to work 2 or 3 times as hard. And it's a similar premise, because if they are looking for super people, like people who have got lots of money, or fantastic scientists or data analysts or whatever it is they're wanting of immigrants that are of the highest caliber, those people will have to work, you know, probably twice as hard as anybody else. Trump has also withdrawn legal status from Haitians. I don't know how he's done that. So Haitians who were legally in America, their status had been withdrawn. I don't know how or why, and I don't know if it applies to all. But I was thinking, bloody hell, the Haitians are having a ordeal. First, that massive hurricane. Then they get so badly treated by the Bahamians by the second hurricane. And now their status. And he's also done that with people from El Salvador. Withdrawn their legal status from the United States. And I don't know. I didn't really look into that because it's a whole different matter. But, yeah. And it's ironic that in America, undocumented parents who have children, there was this thought at one point that if you had a child in the country, that would give you legal status in the country. So people used to come over here, they were undocumented, not over here, well, say here, America, wherever. But say we're talking about America, they would go over to America, they would have a child and think, oh yeah, I've got a child in the country, that means I can stay in the country. Technically, once a child reaches 18, that person can file for you and you can be able to come into the country. That used to be the case. They called them anchor babies. The children, they anchor you into the country. And so what was happening is that they found a lot of children were born. People came over to America and England on tourist visas or whatever ways they came over. Had babies and thought that was their way of securing their stay in a particular country. So that's not working now. And as we know, there's a lot of these anchor babies in these homes or in these centres or facilities, and the parents have been chucked out of the country. And that's really, really unfortunate. And the thing is that technically they don't even recognise those children as citizens. That's why they treat them so abominably. Because even though they are technically citizens because they were born on the soil, the fact that their parents weren't citizens and therefore and had no right to be in the country, that is why they feel as though those children technically shouldn't be citizens either. They don't say that out in the open, but that is the underlying reason why. And also they feel tricked, and you can understand, when you kind of think that the ways that people try to deceive the system, and now it's getting tough and harder to deceive. People kind of feel hard done by. But if you come into a country legitimately, and you do things properly, we wouldn't be in, we know, but no country would be in the situation that they're in, that they have to either degrade people, because people have put themselves in a position, some people, not all, some people, unfortunate, like the Windrush people and the Windrush generation, forget about them. Those people are genuinely entitled for their stay. But you do have people who've come into the country and they've done it because they want an opportunity in the country, and they've done it through misrepresentation or deception or whatever it is. And then you'll find that, they create a big stink about it. And you can kind of understand why it's such a problem. But it's almost like people think that they have a right to that citizenship or a right to that nationality by virtue of being clever and outsmarting the system. Because that's what is happening. People are coming over like, you hear people say, look, I want to stay in the UK, or I want to stay in America. How can I do that? If I come over as a student, Does that mean, how can I stay in the UK? And I don't think that they actually mean it in a way that is corrupt or deceptive, even though that's what it is. I think they think that, okay, if I come over under one umbrella, how will that give me an opportunity to advance under a different umbrella? But they don't realise that coming in under one umbrella, that is your route into the country, and only via that route. You can't come in under that route and then decide, oh, yeah, I've come under this route, but really and truly my ultimate goal is to come in under a different route. So therefore, I've come under this route, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find a woman to marry. I'm going to find a man to marry. And that's how I'm going to get in. Because that's the way it normally works. Or they'll come under a work visa or whatever. But ultimately, the goal is to find a British citizen to marry so that they can secure a stay. Now, what the government has done now because of that is they've said, yeah, you can marry a British citizen, but you can't marry them in this country. You have to marry them in your home country. And then that wife has to go back to that country that you've married them in. And she can file for that person to come over. But I've known people who've waited 6-7 years for their spouse to come over. And their spouse is still not here. I mean, I think it's more than 6 or 7 years. One woman, she married somebody, and I think she thought that if she married him, she could bring him over and he could work and blah blah blah. But no, that didn't happen. She had to go over there and marry him, and then she comes back here. I think she goes over there every 6 months or goes there for some time. You know, she still goes to visit him. Well, can't with the lockdown, but she was up until that point. And then she thought she could file for him to come over, but it's not that easy under the criteria to bring your spouse over. It's such a high criteria. So those kind of routes that people used to come under at one point, they're not so available now. And like I said, if you try to come in under those routes and you have a Barney with your missus or your spouse, and they decide to shop you, or they decide to tell the authorities, look, they only married me for my visa because A, B, C, D, and E, especially if there's abuse involved. Because some people get really menacing. You know, if a man has married a woman, for example, and she's telling him, look, you know, if you don't do this or you don't do that, I'm going to shop you to the authorities, and then give her two thump. Well, that's not going to go down well. That puts him on the plane for deportation. So you're kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck in a situation where you are vulnerable, you are beholden, and do you really want to come to a strange country to put yourself in that position? Yes, you might be fortunate enough to naturally gravitate to someone, have a natural relationship, have natural love, natural affection, natural feelings. But if you don't have that natural and it's contrived, when that relationship is breaking down and you don't like that woman and she has you under her thumb because you have to depend on her to give you your visa or to facilitate your visa, and you have to behave until you get it, is that a position you really want to be in? Do you really want to leave your country? Is your country that bad? I mean, forget about the ones who are seeking asylum where, you know, they're being threatened and persecuted and stuff. A lot of people who are coming here are not from those countries. Some are, but a lot of them are not. So forget those. But would you really want to put yourself in that kind of position where you're beholden and dependent on someone? And that person, anytime you have an argument, you're going to have to think, oh, you can't have a natural argument. I mean, people argue. People disagree. People don't talk. And yet they can actually still come together and resolve it. But if you have an argument or you don't talk for weeks on end or whatever, and you are relying on that person to give you a visa, in your mindset, it's not going to be the same as if you have an argument or you don't speak to somebody who hasn't got something over your head. So sometimes it's in the psyche, sometimes it's imagined. Sometimes when people are in a position where they are having an argument, they might think it's because somebody has got a hold over them, when it's not. It's just a natural relationship that has its challenges and problems. Whereas sometimes, depending on the individual you have chosen, they can hold it over your head and it can be very uncomfortable. So I think, what else is there? Oh yeah, I was talking about the America and the anchor babies. It's ironic because in Portugal, all you've got to do, they're kind of trying to get the babies as Portuguese citizens after a year. It was 2 years, so they're now, it's now being reduced to 1 year. But it's ironic that they would accept babies born in the country and who are there for a year, just a year, as citizens. And America sees it as a ploy to just become a citizen. They don't see it as a right for that child to be a citizen. That doesn't mean, the other routes for a Portuguese family to stay in Portugal and get their naturalisation there are similar to the UK. Once they've been in the country since 1974, and between 1974 and 1981, I believe, they can be naturalised. So their systems are pretty similar as far as that is concerned. But at least they acknowledge the children as citizens if they were born in the country. Whereas America doesn't really. Yes, technically they are, but the treatment of them is not as those whose parents are citizens. Otherwise, they wouldn't be isolated or in this facility where all these kids are, where we see them, all bungled up in the same place. Goodness knows what's going to happen to them. Goodness knows, I dread to think what their life is going to be like. I dread to think how they would grow up. But talking about that, growing up and your lifestyle and everything, I was, let's leave from America and the UK and go to Jamaica for a little bit. Nicholas Johnson, he's got a little bit of Jamaican in him. He was actually born in Canada. His mother's Jamaican and his father is from the Bahamas. And he is the first black valedictorian ever. Well, for 247 years. That's a long time. Since the Ivy League was established in Princeton. And yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. It's always nice to have a bit of good news. We've been talking about the coronavirus, now I'm talking about immigration and their problems. But yeah, he's 22 years old. And what is a valedictorian? Well, you have to be top. You have to have A's in every single subject. And the more honours subjects you take and get more A's in, that's how you become a valedictorian. You don't become it by getting A's in one subject. I don't know how many he took because I didn't want to read the whole thing. I just really wanted to acknowledge the fact that that is his accomplishment. And, they were saying, why don't valedictorians become rich? Because if you're really astute and you're focused and you've got all these A's, why doesn't it make you money? And they reckon that, because when you're, in order to be a valedictorian, you have to study, be focused, you can't be distracted, you don't take drugs, you probably don't have women, you don't do anything you don't have games, you're not, you know what I mean? You need to be focused 100%. And they reckon that valedictorians don't really break the rules. And in order to be a millionaire and rich, you do have to break the rules. So I was thinking to myself, well, if they become a valedictorian, all they've got to do is use those skills that they achieved to become a valedictorian, and then they just bend the rules a little when they go into the business world. That's not that difficult, is it? I mean, once they understand that. But apparently it's a mindset of people who are valedictorians that they are so strict and rigid and goody-goody that those are not the qualities required to be a billionaire or a millionaire. Because remember, in order to be a millionaire and a billionaire, you have to step on people's toes, you have to break the rules, you have to be quite shrewd, you have to have a cold heart. You can't think about other people. You have to think about your goal and your outcome. So, yeah, so that's what they were saying. What else did I want to talk about? Let me think. Stop all my umming and ahhing and get some words out, please. Why don't you, Blackbright? Social media companies, apparently they are getting a ribbing. On the one hand, they need to allow autonomy and relative freedom of expression in order for people to engage, especially on Facebook. And it is what attracts advertisers, of course, the fact that people are engaging all the time. And on the other hand, they're being asked to police the uploads. YouTube is already policing uploads. Facebook is to an extent, but there is only so much they've been doing. So the House of Commons have brought out a disinformation and fake news report. It was just over a year ago on Valentine's Day, the 14th of February 2019, which was meant to put this monitoring system in place. However, Mark Zuckerberg, you know, the Facebook face, has stood before many committees trying to defend his platform. And and in the face of being accused of encouraging, he has been accused of encouraging child trafficking, paedophilia, terrorism, and other harms. Because he's not, because what's going on is not being monitored. I mean, really and truly, they just want to monitor everything that people are putting up. At the moment, to a certain extent, they've got, systems in place to pick up certain words. They've got algorithms that will tell them certain things, but stuff still gets through. I mean, you can be clever, so to speak. So apparently, according to the report, Mark Zuckerberg has shown contempt for UK Parliament and the International Grand Committee because he's not he's not putting systems in place to the extent that they want him to put in place. The report recommends that social media and tech companies should be liable for harmful content on their sites. This includes disinformation, misinformation, and fake news. A compulsory code of ethics has been established or is being established, which will be overseen by an independent regulator, setting out what constitutes harmful content. The independent regulator has statutory powers to monitor these companies, which will create a regulatory system online. So what these social media and tech companies have done to safeguard themselves from high fines, they have put the onus on the creator. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, when I put up my videos, I have to go through this ordeal, more or less, of confirming what type of video it is, whether it's sensitive material, whether I'm giving my opinion, whether it's hate crime, whether it's terrorism, whether it's paedophilia and all that kind of stuff. So because my videos are mostly about my opinion on sensitive issues, that's the one I have to tick. And then you just go through this process. But that is to safeguard the platforms. So the onus is on us. So the fines won't go to the social media giants. It will come back on the little guys. So, you know, when we're doing these videos, it's a big responsibility. And I don't think people realize how big a responsibility it is. And, you know, some people say, you know, you've got a lot of courage. But I think as I go by day to day, I understand what my limitations are. And I'm trying to, well, it's a growing process, isn't it? It's an evolving process. So I do try not to say or anything that's going to cause offence. I mean, we can't please everyone. That's not the way life goes. But I don't think it's about pleasing everyone, but it's about being deliberately hateful and antagonistic and inciting riots and all that kind of stuff. That's not in my nature anyway. But it doesn't mean that you can be lax and not think. Sometimes you have to really think about what you're saying. And it's not always easy to police yourself without and still come over as natural. But I think it's, like I said, it's an evolving process, and it's something that I'm trying to do. I'm learning to do, I guess. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say for now. I hope this wasn't too boring. It's not exciting subjects, but they're subjects I thought had some information in there that you might find useful. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.